All right, happening right now, Mayor Bill de Blasio, New York City's mayor, there addressing reporters about the upcoming nor'easter that is headed in this direction. Let's listen in.
Recent storms, 4 inches per hour is an extraordinarily high level of accumulation. We expect this storm overall to be in the range of 16 inches to 20 inches of snow. The high end right now remains, according to the last National Weather Service report, as much as 24 inches. That is a huge amount of snow, and again, a lot of it will happen in a very concentrated period of time. For that reason, I'm declaring a state of emergency in New York City, commencing at 12 midnight tonight. So state of emergency will go into effect, clarifying the ability of the NYPD and all agencies to act as needed to ensure the safety of all New Yorkers and to ensure that we can keep our roads clear for emergency vehicles. We're going to be working very hard in the coming hours to get everything in place to ensure that we're ready to handle this storm. But I want everyone to know that that state of emergency will be in effect as of midnight. Now, I want to thank all of the leaders of the different agencies that will be part of this response. Of course, you'll hear in a moment from our Sanitation Commissioner, Catherine Garcia, and again, thank you to all the men and women of the Sanitation Department we're depending on so much right now. Our Fire Commissioner, Dan Nigro, our Emergency Management Commissioner, Joe Esposito, Social Services Commissioner, Steve Banks, Chief of Patrol, NYPD, Terry Monahan, Leon Hayward, Deputy Commissioner DOT, Liam Kavanaugh, Deputy Commissioner Parks, the General Manager of the Housing Authority, Michael Kelly, Dan Zarilli, our Senior Director for Climate and Resiliency. I also want to thank Councilmember Antonio Reynoso, Chair of the Sanitation Committee in the City Council, for being here with us. So we expect an intense accumulation of snow. We expect obviously very cold temperatures. There will be, once the snow accumulates, there will be nonstop plowing going on all over New York City, but I want people to understand, because of the intensive accumulation, do not expect to see blacktop for quite a while as we proceed during tomorrow. I think it's going to be normal to see a lot of streets where the snow covers the streets throughout the day as sanitation tries to deal with a vast volume of snow coming in. Hopefully, as we get into the evening tomorrow, sanitation will gain the advantage. But for the daytime hours tomorrow, do not expect to see a lot of blacktop in New York City. And most importantly, New Yorkers should stay off the roads. This is a very important point for your own safety, given the frigid temperatures, the huge amount of snow in a short period of time, the wind, which I'll talk about in a moment. Stay off the streets, for your own good, for your own safety, but also to help the Sanitation Department to keep the streets clear. If you must go out, do so for as limited a time period as possible. If you need to travel, use mass transit if at all possible. But the best thing to do is stay in if you can stay in. We do expect, in addition, some coastal flooding. Tuesday morning, tomorrow morning, is expected in parts of Staten Island, southern Brooklyn, and southern Queens. And then tomorrow evening in parts of the Bronx and northern Queens. So we are going to be on guard for flooding conditions, and we will be ready to respond to those. All people who live in areas prone to flooding, please be on alert. Now, I mentioned the winds. These winds will make it even less safe and will make travel even more difficult. Gusts as high as 40 to 50 miles an hour are being predicted. So that's an extraordinary amount of wind. People have to be ready for that. Sanitation Department will be starting its activities at 7 p.m. this evening, so very shortly. 12-hour split shifts, 2,400 workers per shift, 689 salt spreaders will be pre-deployed. And then again, when you have accumulation of snow of about 2 inches, the plows go to work. 1,600 plows from the Sanitation Department will be deployed. In addition, Department of Transportation will provide 80 more plows and 400 personnel to assist in this effort. And as I mentioned earlier today, 283,000 tons of rock salt on hand, so we're doing very well in terms of our salt supply. As I declared earlier today, our public schools will be closed tomorrow. In addition, all after-school programs, PSAL programs, and adult education programs will be closed as well. We heard earlier the decision by the MTA shutting down outdoor subway service at 4 a.m., but underground subway service will continue as of now. Bus service will continue, but will be reduced as much as 30%. We have not yet heard the decision by the MTA related to the Long Island Railroad and Metro North. We will monitor that later on and see what that decision is. And as of this moment, no major state roads have been closed, but we expect to have further discussions with the state later in the evening to determine whether that will be necessary. As for alternate side parking, suspended Tuesday and Wednesday. So another reason to keep your cars where they are, keep them off the streets. I want to encourage everyone to look out for your neighbors, particularly your elderly or sick neighbors. If anyone doesn't have heat and hot water, call 311. That's vital so we can get you help right away. These are the basic updates that we have now. We are going to have more information around 10 p.m. tonight from the National Weather Service. And between our consultations with the state later on this evening and that update at 10 p.m., we'll be able to say if we need to take any additional measures. Just a few words in Spanish. Estamos siguiendo una gran nevada que llegará esta noche.
All right, we have just finished hearing from New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio, now addressing reporters in Spanish. But just to give you an update on what he's talking about the system that's headed in our direction here on the East Coast that will indeed impact millions and millions of people who are in the eye and the way of the system that is headed in our direction. He implemented a state of emergency for the city. It will go into effect at 12 o'clock midnight. The city is also expecting to get 16 to 20 inches and in some places could get 24 inches. If you want to put this in perspective, last year around the same time, the city got 33 inches. This time for today, we got up to 22 inches. So you add what a possible 24 inches to that puts us past the total from last year. Also cold temperatures as well, along with dangerous winds, gusts as high as 40 to 50 miles per hour. And for that reason alone, he's telling people that if you have to go outside, if at all possible, play it safe. If you don't, stay inside, stay out of your cars, stay off the roads. The Sanitation Department has deployed several workers who will be spreading salt around the roads to keep our roads and highways protected and safe as well. They'll be working on 12-hour shifts. Also want to point out that public schools are closed in the New York City area, and the MTA is shutting down all outdoor subway stations at 4 a.m. That's important to note. All outdoor subway stations, any type of service that's outdoors will be shut down at 4 a.m. Underground, however, will still be open, and you can expect more updates before the night is over with. But as always, keep it here on CBSN for the latest on this system that is headed in our direction.